Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. And in today's commentary, what I want to talk about is something that I actually just thought about, and I was like, oh holy crap, that'd be a great idea for a YouTube video. And it was a idea that I had because the video itself wouldn't necessarily shine unless I gave a story that would explain why I wanted to do this. So let me explain. The idea, because as obviously you see the thumbnail, you see the title, etc., you know what this video is about, but the idea of this video is about perspective. Why did I decide to make a video about perspective when I'm not necessarily known for being a philosophical guy, and like just in general, why am I doing a lot of these lately? Well, the way I look at it is that I really enjoy philosophical type of videos. One of my favorite YouTubers to watch that does these is Drifter, but although he doesn't do them too much anymore, I would highly recommend checking out Drifter's philosophical videos, where his commentaries is basically talking about life and the way that humans react to them. It's a very interesting concept, the way that humans react to certain circumstances. I like psychology, philosophical stuff, all that type of jazz. So I would highly recommend looking up his videos so you can understand what I'm talking about. But the reason why I personally want to do this, and specifically this particular topic, is because perspective, in my opinion, is one of my core values. The reason why it's one of my core values is because there has been many instances in my life where it can be something as simple as deciding what I'm going to eat that day, to my outlook on my whole entire existence, my life. That moment where you're just like, wow, my life is this, that, the other, holy crap, wow. Like those, it's kind of almost sounds like a high thought, but I promise it's not a high thought. Basically what it is that, it's one of those moments where you just have an epiphany and you go like, wow. That's all you can just say is wow. And you know what I'm talking about. You know about those instances where you just go wow and you just realize something and it just clicks and it makes sense. That's what I want to talk about, is perspective, where you just realize something, where you truly, honest to God, have found out in the current moment in time, you're just like, wow, I cannot believe I let this just pass over my head this whole entire time. Now, like I said, this can be anywhere from what you're deciding to eat that day to also where you realize something incredibly insane about your whole entire life. Now, I wanted to ask you guys something. When it comes to anything in life, do you ever take it at face value, or do you try to almost think of ideas about why a certain thing would be that way? Some people do take things just at face value. Some people be like, this is it, it's just plainly obvious, why would anyone see it differently? And then some other people, including myself, they look at it like, wow, this is actually really interesting, but I wonder what this could mean if we did this, or does this really only happen to be just this one thing that's important, or is this all that this really means? And I would like to call myself, and I don't even know if this is necessarily a term, but I'm making it myself, I am, in my humble opinion, a optimistic realist, where I can look at things from face value, but try to look on the positive side of things and have things be almost open to interpretation. So, for example, if somebody went up to me and said, oh, the sky is blue, and this is gonna sound so stupid, but bear with me. Yes, factually, I can be realistic enough to obviously point out that the sky is blue. I agree with him. But the optimistic side of me, or the more creative side rather, looks at the sky and doesn't necessarily just see blue. I see clouds that look like a whole bunch of cool shapes and artwork almost. I see the cloud happens to look like an animal or a cool thing that reminds me of something from my childhood. The sky is blue, but it reminds me of a shade of blue that reminds me of a certain video game scene or something like that. You look at something for more than just what it is, because a guy would just be like, the sky is blue, and that's really all is to it. It's more factual than creative, if that makes any sense. When I look at it in the more of the sense of being yes, it's blue, but what can we do with that said blue? I can see it being a piece of artwork. I can see it being a cool idea for a cool concept, maybe for a background for a TV show, or for maybe a video game artwork. Stuff like that. And somebody might just be like, oh, that's stupid, why would you try to make something so convoluted out of a color in a sky, you know what I mean? But then if you try to be too realistic and you just look at something for face value, I feel like things can just be bland and lose their creativity. For example, let's take the artwork thing for example. Some people, including myself, have had moments where they see a piece of artwork and they're like, why the hell is this suddenly worth billions of dollars? You know what I'm talking about, those paintings that look like that somebody took a bucket of paint and just threw it at the canvas and they didn't actually try to do anything, but some of those are worth billions of dollars because somebody's imagination goes, wow, I can see something specific to me, and it doesn't really matter to them if somebody can't see their vision. They just get pure enjoyment out of it. They look on the optimistic side of things. Now, the optimistic side of things doesn't necessarily translate into this, but they do kind of tie two and two together. Optimism and creativity, or optimism and perspective, usually coincide with each other. Like, for example, usually optimistic people try to look on different sides of things, especially when times where there's stuff that are, bleak. Like, for example, a good example of this would be right now. A lot of people would just look at this as, oh, this is just a stupid time where everyone's panicking, nobody really knows what's going on, and everyone's just kind of worried for the worst. When the optimistic, or I guess the more creative person, would be like, okay, well, yes, that is the case, everyone's worried, and yes, this is a time of need, to try to get this thing taken care of. But however, though, some people might be like, oh, well, let's try to think of ideas to resolve the problem. They don't necessarily just look like, okay, people are panicking. They're like, okay, people are panicking, so now what can we do to fix it? What can we do with these people panicking? How can we reassure them? What can we tell them that would reassure them? You kind of get what I'm getting at here? If you don't fully get me, let me try to sell you on with this. The way that I look at it in my life with perspective is perspective can be good and bad. And sometimes these things don't necessarily have to stay a certain way. Sometimes they can change. For example, there's been times where I've looked at something in a positive light and turned negative towards it, and same thing vice versa. I've had friendships that I thought were completely amazing and great, and then I ended up cutting people out of my life. I ended up having moments where I saw something that I did not want to go near. I despised it, I hated it, I had nothing I wanted to do with it, and then over time I've kind of just like grown to appreciate it, or at least respect it rather. Sometimes it's with people, sometimes it's with games, sometimes it's with the way I see myself. I can see a certain trait about myself that I do and do not like, sometimes change over time. Some days I feel like I'm being annoying and talk too much, and some days I feel like I don't talk enough. Some days I feel like I'm, very angry and frustrated with something, and then some other days I feel like that I feel like I'm being a dork, I feel like very uplifting, very happy, stuff like that. And this might not make any sense to you, but for the people it does, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Perspective is really just like being able to not just be open-minded about something, but it's about being creative with what you're being open-minded about. Anything in life can be taken at face value, literally anything. You could look at something and be like, okay, that's blue, or that's the clouds, or that's just a certain piece of artwork that looks like somebody splatted paint on the canvas. But like I said, the realistic, person, or the, I guess, kind of like grumpy person. Realistic doesn't mean necessarily grumpy, but they kind of go two and two together. You notice a pattern there. It's not all the time, but it's kind of funny how sometimes that's the case. A lot of people that are realistic tend to be grumpy, but that's just a joke, really. Not all the time. And then optimistic people tend to be the people that are more like open-minded. They tend to be more open to ideas. They tend to be more like, oh, well, this is that, but it's also this. And the way that I want to wrap things up here, just because the way that this commentary is going, I feel like I would only truly get this if you were... I feel like you guys would only truly get this if you were in my shoes. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to completely sell you on it, but this is just kind of one thing that I just want to leave you with. When it comes to perspective, perspective doesn't necessarily mean one particular thing or the other. In fact, this whole entire commentary is perspective. If you watch this video, you might think I'm a lunatic, but some other people might look at this video and be like, oh wow, this guy actually truly understands what I think. And that's perspective. So perspective can be a variety of things, including the way you watch this YouTube video. So I'll just leave it with that, because if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And hopefully I've opened your mind and left you guys open to interpretation, so that way you guys can not only enjoy life, but you can look at something and be like, oh hey, I guess it really wasn't what it was before just by itself after all. You know what I mean? It's just more than that. Anyways, guys, this is today's video. I hope you guys ended up enjoying my mild ramble, but my kind of attempt at a philosophical commentary. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I highly recommend checking out Drifter's channel, because Drifter's channel does have a lot better of mine, and I would highly recommend checking out his videos. But if you did enjoy my video and you want to see me take another crack at this, definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And anyways, guys, this is today's video. Hope you ended up enjoying. Do me a favor and just wash your hands, by the way, just because I feel like a broken record here by saying this, but a lot of people are still not doing it, and I want to make sure that everything's good. So that's my perspective on that too. Anyways, guys, I will see you guys all in the next one. Thank you for watching, and peace out, guys.